Well, welcome to another episode of Real Estate AI Flash. Today is going to be a good one because I have admired Maxwell Stevens and his mom, who are like co-brokers. I mean, he's going to clarify it, but mom and son team of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Pocono Real Estate. I would typically say admire from afar, but they're very close to where I live, so I admire from a near. But it's great to have Maxwell Stevens on the podcast. I recently was chatting with him about his use of AI, and I thought our listening audience would benefit. And he's also a member of the what I believe is the future of real estate, which is the Rethink Council, which is 10 to 12 forward-thinking, credible real estate agents who are really our future of real estate. So it's great to have Maxwell on the show. Welcome to the podcast, Maxwell.
Thanks, Rajiv. This is awesome. Thank you. It's an honor to be on. Thanks for asking me.
And you know, when you and I were talking, we'll get into this, but you were talking about a couple of ways you were using AI, and we'll get to it. But I'd love for the audience to get to know you a little bit. How did you get into real estate? Tell us the Steven story.
Yeah, so real estate's, I feel like I've shared this a lot, but real estate's been my family business my entire life. My mom and grandma started the company, and they used to take us as kids on caravan. And we, after like the fifth or sixth house, we'd be like, please, not another house. So it's just been in my blood, really. I moved away in my 20s to Montana to ski and bartend, and then I traveled the world, which was like an amazing experience. I'm so grateful for that. And then I came home, and we had an opportunity to switch from Berkshire to Berkshire Hathaway, my mom and I, and we were like, are we going to do this? And we did it. And so my mom's the broker, owner, chief visionary, we call her. And I'm the top agent. So I'm really grateful. I couldn't have done it without my mom.
You know, if you recall, you and I we were at Marketing Forum in Palm Springs, was it? Like a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you, me, and your mom were like riding and we were talking about your dream of buying a Tesla, or not a dream, but it was happening very soon.
Hers,
you know?
Yeah, she got one.
She got one, yeah. And I really sensed a servanthood with your mom, but giving back. I watch her videos on Facebook. She's amazing on the content she puts out. But obviously our podcast is about AI. So let me kind of bring it back to the when was your first aha moment? I believe like life is filled with a series of aha moments, you know, whether it's professional life or personal life. But when was your first aha moment with AI?
Well, it's funny because I'm going to bring my mom into the story a little bit. So I was watching, I don't know if it was like Westworld or like the Will Smith movie with iRobot or something like that. And my mom goes to me, why are you watching that stuff? It's so far-fetched. And I was like, Mom, it's actually pretty real right now. Like we're living in this moment, like, or at least the beginning of it. And, that was our first aha moment. And then as far as like business, I just started to dig into it and play with it. And the biggest aha moment was like, this is going to take a lot off my plate. And that was it. Like, okay, let me use this to, not do the mundane that I hate doing anyway, and focus on either building more business, focus on time with my daughter, or, creative things. So that was really my big first aha moment.
Yeah. And, it's interesting you say that. There's two groups of people I find agents wise when I talk to a lot of people around AI. One that are just purely fearful of AI.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could be in that camp for a little while in terms of the fear. But you and I know that our business is human. I mean, it happens with human connection. And to your point, if you could take a lot of the ordinary stuff off your plate and automate it, and I have I have a saying, it takes about automate the ordinary with AI so you can personalize the extraordinary.
I love that.
Right? It's the 20% that you can go deep on with people so that your 80% is taken care of versus it chewing up so much of your time, right? So that's a great way to think about it. Look at all the processes you're doing as a real estate agent, and And the question that I've always asked, because I've been on this journey for like 2 years, like dug deep, Maxwell with AI and doing all this stuff, podcast, talk to a lot of agents like yourself. You know, anything that comes to me now, I ask myself, can AI help me with this?
Yeah.
Right? Like asking that question, kind of slow down a little bit so you can speed up, you know, with all of the mundane stuff. So that's a great analogy. So let's kind of dive in. You mentioned two things to me that really piqued my curiosity when we were talking the other day. And I'd love for us to dig in on specific things you're doing that would help agents like yourself that are listening to the podcast. So let's get into it.
I think that, I use it for the normal stuff, emails, some texts, listing descriptions. What I've started to use it as like almost a search engine, like using it to look up things. And so that's been helpful. But what we were talking about the other day is I actually have the device with me. This little thing right here, let me pull it out.
And we'll put a link to that Maxwell thing in the show notes, just so you're all of you have it. Go ahead, Max.
Yeah, for sure. This is so thin, and it actually slides in this little pouch, and you can put it on the back of your phone, right? And it's a AI voice recorder, and it's changed. I don't take any more notes. You just hit play, and it records. I've done it with Rethink meetings. I've done it when Mark Stark was speaking at Explosion. I do it as much. I use it a lot, and so it picks up a lot around the room, big rooms, small rooms, and it will type the whole entire conversation you've had, and then it will summarize with bullet points, and then it'll give you action items. And you can tweak it where it's like, is this a speaker? Is this a meeting? I've even had it. It's even distinguished like, okay, Rajiv said this. Noah said that. It's picked up so much. The technology in this small little credit card thing, it blows my mind.
It's unbelievable. And how do you use it at client meetings? Like you always tell them, hey, I want to record the conversation, so I make sure I capture all the meetings. So you want to set the stage a little bit, right?
Yeah, you definitely want to be careful with it a little bit. You want to let people know you're recording them just for, laws and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
With client meetings, I had one the other day where we were sitting at the conference table and they were just not rambling off. They were, just explaining what they want in a house, what their situation was, what their financing was like. And so of course I was like, I'm recording you. It picked up everything. It summarized it into what we talked about. And then it went into action items because it tells like what we were talking about. It was like, Chris said that he needs to talk to his lender. So one of the action items was talk to lender, Maxwell to send search of homes. That part was a little scary about how detailed it was on the summary. And it's really nice and clean. It's got bullet points. It's a complete outline. And then it will also do like a mind map right on the app.
And so does it connect to anything? Like as you click record, does it typically, obviously, it has an interface you have an app on your phone for it?
Yeah.
And it documents everything there. Is it easy to move the minutes into like a Google Doc or something like that?
Yeah, it's like copy paste. You can save doc files. You can save as PDFs. I think this is like a launch of the product, but they really dialed it in. They really did. I don't know if you can see it, but this is the summary of Mark Stark's.
I think it's great. That's awesome. Yeah. So let me ask you this magic question, right? So it saves you a ton of time and really pay attention to details that you might miss, right? 100%. Because you're like listening, documenting, the whole thing. So in a given week, how many hours, kind of guesstimate this, Maxwell, how many hours this device has helped you save?
Oh, I have countless.
Gross estimate. Like a few hours a week, easy.
Easy. Yeah,
Easy, yeah.
you know what? I think the more important thing for me too is that I'm able to be present in the moment with my clients. I'm able to be
110%.
present at,
Yeah.
Mr. Stark's keynote, and I feel like I get more out of it, and my clients get more out of it because I'm not focused on writing anything down. I'm really just
Yeah.
we're present.
That's right. That's awesome. And how much does that device cost, by the way?
I think it was like $150. It was
It's
like a
unbelievable.
no-brainer. Like
No
I
brainer.
said, even if this doesn't work, I need to try it.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
not like you're going to lose your,
100%. And what's wild is you mentioned they just launched the product, they have it pretty dialed in. And I tell people, look, this is the worst AI technology you're going to use as of this moment, as we're
yeah,
recording this podcast. I looked the other day, there's a photo app called Midjourney. I don't know if you heard of Midjourney, but there you can generate text now, you can generate images, you can create video, you can do code, you could do speech. But all those things are covered in AI. But this one, I looked at a picture. I mean, when you look at an AI generated picture like a year ago, you knew it was AI generated, like because the face was all like messed up. So I saw a February 2022 picture from Midjourney to a December 2023 picture from Midjourney. And the December 2023 picture from Midjourney, you could not recognize it was an AI picture. So in just 18 months, so the technology is changing so fast. That recorder you have, if it's software upgradable, like a year from now, it is not going to miss anything.
no.
It's going to be so good.
I mean, I think they already even came out with they did like a pre-launch, so they came out with this, and then they literally a few months later came out with a smaller device already that you can
Yeah.
wear. That's like a lapel
Wow.
clip or something. Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's insane how
It's
fast.
crazy. And I'm going to share a link with you. We'll put it in the show notes as well for the listening audience about audio computing, like just listening and transcribing as you're talking. Think of ChatGPT now, right? It has a voice assistant, like you can actually talk because of your phone has that capability, but it is still translating your voice to text, and the prompt is text. It goes to ChatGPT, it responds in voice. There's a lot of translation happening. This app I saw is really a device. You wear it, and I could really talk to ChatGPT and just kind of have a conversation completely back and forth with AI. Think of what that would do for role play for agents. Think of what that would do for like conversations. And if you're a Hispanic buyer, I could talk with you with this device, understand you, and respond back, and it would converse in multiple languages. It's a TED talk I heard like in April 2024. I'll put the link in the show notes. I'll share that with you, Maxwell. You should watch it. It's the coolest thing I've seen in a while. And
Yeah,
that's
that's
where
like James
technology is
Bond
going.
stuff.
These devices are going to come closer to us that have AI built in. And that's a great example that you shared that every realtor should look into, because you're in meetings, with client meetings, follow-ups, like you're attending meetings. And I would love to have one of those things. And I know you sent me the link, so we'll definitely put it in the show notes. So
Yeah, and to
that's
take it
great.
a quick little step further is
Yeah.
like you can take it's called Plod. So you could take what Plod has summarized and then take it a step further and then put it into ChatGPT
Yeah.
and say, create a business plan off of, whatever, or act as this and create that. And so like it doesn't just stop there with notes. It's,
Yeah. That's
continues.
awesome.
One thing I also forgot is I would send the summary to my clients
Yeah.
after the meeting, and they were blown away at, they were thankful. They were grateful.
Think about the client satisfaction and the whole experience, right? I mean, it shows you're responsibly embracing technology, being present in the moment, follow through, follow up. I mean, there's so many stories around that. How do you spell the name of this device?
Plaud.
Okay, Plod. Not to be
Well,
confused, audience, with the large language model called Claude. We'll put the link in the show notes. So make sure you purchase the right equipment. But That's awesome. Anything else with AI that's really struck a chord with you, Maxwell?
Well, so like what I've been doing too is like I listen to you guys, your podcast, and I listen to like it's all about prompts, right? So one of my favorite prompts that I've been using is for inspection negotiation or credit negotiation or time frame negotiation.
Oh yeah.
And so I say to ChatGPT, please act as a master negotiator and reply to this, that, and the other. It takes a little bit of time to get that down, but once you just explain the situation to ChatGPT, it pulls it out. I email it over, and it's actually funny. I've been getting results for my buyers and sellers, not having to pay an extra $2,000 or for whatever, like whatever the concessions were at the time. And my transaction concierge, she's the best. Dakota, she actually emailed me after and was like, how are you doing all this? Like, she's like, you're amazing. So that's been like something I use a lot is the ChatGPT, almost negotiation.
Yeah, so you're sort of using it for negotiation tactics to personalize the response back and really maximize the value you're offering to your buyers and sellers.
Yeah, and I think it also like it's you. Of course, there's three stages, right? Or well, there's the inputting, the prompt, the output, and then my input into it, fixing it, right? And I think it articulates. It just articulates it better for me. It helps me find what I want to say, and it's very. You can say act as a nice master negotiator. You know what I mean? So I think there's a lot more to it, but like a lot of me goes into it. But it's a huge help. It's a huge help.
Yeah, over time, I think you should build like a Maxwell Negotiator custom GPT that has
That's cool.
all of the knowledge of your business, the way you want to conduct it, the words you want to use, and I think, but you're starting the right path, though. I think that is awesome, and there's so many things you could do with it. But you found two use cases. One was with Plod, which was saving you a bunch of time and really adding value to your clients, and the other was potentially saving or helping your clients make more money. And looking like a rock star. So two great use cases. When I talked to Maxwell about this, I said, you know what, our audience needs to listen to this because it's practical use cases that you could apply in, week out to have AI take your business to the next level. So as we wind down, I'm asking our guests two questions that I think, you've been in real estate 6 years, your mom, I didn't know your grandma. So this is like a whole family business here. Maxwell,
oh yeah,
right? So
I'm actually in my grandfather's office. This was his office when he was in the business. Yeah.
So what advice, if you were to, knowing what you know, and you've been very successful in the short time you've been a real estate agent because you've been, I call it, you've been standing on the shoulders of giants like your mom and your grandma. So you learn a lot, you soak it in, and with the Rethink Council. So what advice would you give your younger self if you started in business today?
Oh, I mean, I just did a video on this. I just posted it today, actually, but it reigns true for me right this minute. And, I say in it, be scared and do it anyway. That's been the, the catapult for me lately is just, I'm scared to do it. I'm scared to be on this podcast, or I'm scared to be speaking, or scared to start doing video. And I wish I did it faster. I wish I did it sooner. Yeah. My fear really got in the way. So like that would be the number one thing is like, just do it, go for it, be scared, do it anyway. And then watch where it brings you. Like I'm on podcasts and Rethink Councils, and it's amazing where when I put my fear aside or didn't really listen to it and just dove in where it took me. That's honestly
That's awesome advice. And I remember watching that on your stories today, by the way, that video.
Thank you.
From, I think it was convention or something like that, probably.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that. That's great advice. And I think a lot of people are stuck in their tracks thinking people that do it anyway, like yourself, don't have the fear. You have the fear, but you still do it anyway. All right. The next one is a fun one because I feel like I could learn from and this is more selfish than anything else, but also for agents that are listening. The one book that has helped your business the most that agents should absolutely read. I might know where you're going with this, but let me see.
Yeah, it might be a little selfish, but it's also a huge shout out to a dear friend and mentor of mine, Alan Dalton. He was nice enough to feature me in this book, which I can't, there was no like literary masterpiece on my end. I was just trying to help, but he created this almost workbook, and it's called Buyer Agent Be Aware. It actually has a whole segment on AI. There's top agents in the industry in our network too that have case studies, and it was a really big impact for me in my business, and the amount of information I feel like would help anybody. So I'm going to go with this one. This is
great
more
choice.
recent.
That was going to be my guess that you would go there, but I wanted you to say it. Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll include a link to Alan's book. Alan's an amazing resource for the network, and he is one of the brightest minds in terms of how to articulate communication is key, and he's one of the best communicators I've been around. So he's awesome. I appreciate you sharing that. We'll put the link to that book in the show notes as well. So Maxwell, this has been fun. So if you're listening to this, you should follow Maxwell on social media. You should connect with him. And if you're ever thinking of, if you have a referral in Pocono, Pennsylvania, great place. And you should reach out to Maxwell because he's a rock star and he'll take care of your clients as well. So Maxwell, thank you for joining me. You've been awesome, and continued success.
Thank you so much, Rajiv. It's an honor, really.